Herbie.
Hello, everyone in the Artfully Connected Facebook group, and welcome to another episode. I know, two in a row. Can you believe it? Two in a row. Artful webinars. Artfully Connected. Meet the artist. Meet the artist. And tonight's guest is none other than Miss Judy Ribitch.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being here. And we've known each other for quite some number of years. Maybe not as long as you've known everybody else, but
I was trying to think, maybe 15 years?
I know it's been a while. I have one of the pieces I did with you, and I can't remember if it was Hoot. It was the butterfly, and you had the 4 different textured squares.
Oh, I think that was net.
It was,
Yeah.
anyways, I love that piece. I loved the textures, and I loved everything. It's like a mixed media almost kind of thing.
Yes.
So I just love that piece. And I think that was like the beginning of the relationship. So
yes, that had to been net.
Well, it is in my backyard, so gotta go.
Oh, that's right. You got to support it.
Yes, you bet. And so I'm looking forward to the coming year, because I was all planning on going to this one in November and October, in October. And it was like, yeah, pandemic. What can you say?
Yes, everything fell through.
Yeah, but this year is going to be a much better year. I think everybody is going to be able to leave their homes and feel safer. Maybe not right away, maybe not the first 6 months, but I think by summertime, I think.
Well, I hope the first 6 months. My first seminar is coming up in April. It's like, okay, this is cutting it close.
Yeah. Are you going to go get your shot?
Yes, I'm supposed to be able to get it now, but they say there's 200,000 people that are eligible in our area, and they're only getting 1,000 shots a day or a week, 1,000 shots a week, or 1,000 vials, And so that means, chances of getting it soon are not good. So. Oh, I lost your sound.
Oops, that's me. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I can see where that. I can see where that. Yeah, that is. They go by priority or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm in the priority group now, but there's 200,000 people in that group. So
I want to. Yeah, right. So I was just biding some time here to get people to be able to log in and find us. And thank you all who are here for joining us tonight for this edition of Meet the Artist. And if you are watching live, please go ahead and post some questions in the comments section, because I hate coming up. I have 17 questions that, that could take, I don't know, a whole 10 minutes. Yeah. So if you guys are out there, you ladies are out there, and you have some questions for Judy, please put them there and I will ask them. And if you're watching on the replay, once again, thank you for taking time out in your day to watch the replay, and go ahead and ask your questions too, because if you tag Judy by putting like an @ sign and Judy Ribitch, she'll get notified that there's a question that somebody wants her, and she'll come back and she'll answer it for you.
Okay.
So first off, the most important, the hardest question of all, I tell everybody, is tell us where you're from.
Oh, I'm from Shelby Township, Michigan, which is a suburb outside of Detroit.
Detroit.
Yes.
Sweet.
So definitely a suburb.
Is that like a born and raised there, or?
Not in this area, yes. I've gone from Shelby Township, I've gone further out, and then when my husband died, I came closer in, just to be closer to friends and family and things. So pretty much I've been in this area all my life.
Cool. So did you come from an artistic family?
No, not at all. My mother thought art was a waste of time and effort. And every time I wanted to take an art class or something, she discouraged me that I had better things to do with my time. So I really did not start painting until I was married and had kids. So it was a long time coming. In fact, when I was younger, remember those little cartoons in the back of the magazines? Can you draw me? Yeah, so drew one of those and sent it in, and the gentleman came to my house. And boy, did I get in trouble for that.
Someone actually came to your house?
Yes, and said that, they felt that I had talent, that I could do this. And she was like, no way. So
What did she want you to be?
something practical, a secretary, or, work in an office or something, something that I could always fall back on. So, yeah,
So,
art was not it.
when you went to school, then did you take, practical classes then? Did you?
All, secretary classes, typing and shorthand and all, office machines and all that kind of classes.
So did you get married young?
I was 21. So
And is that
old for my time.
is that
back then everybody was married in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me was 19, so
Yeah, a lot of my friends were 17, 18. Yeah. So I was like the old maid.
So when did you start painting then? Is it when you got married, or is it before you got married?
After I got married, my girlfriend called up. I had a 2-year-old son, and my girlfriend called and said she had signed up for a painting class. Was I interested in going with her? And I said, yes, sign me up. I'm out of here. And I've been painting ever since.
Oh, so yeah, because me, it was like when I had my children, actually my last child, that's when I started. I knew I needed something more. I was an at-home mom and I needed something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's about the same thing.
I needed the out, and I told her, to sign me up and buy everything. She was going shopping for her stuff and to buy everything I needed. Well, the shock of that bill, it was like, okay, I started in oils, and it was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this.
That was my next question. What was the medium you started with? So you started in oil painting?
In oils, yes. And oils, I love oils, but with little ones, it was very hard to do oils. I'd come home after working all night on a face in class, and they'd say, "Is that dry yet?" and touch it. And several times, back in the day, we used to dry our oils under the gas burner in your oven. Well, a couple times I turned the oven on and really cooked it, forgot it was in there. So it was a time to change to acrylics.
I can't even imagine.
Well, the smell was not real nice.
Oh my God. Yeah, I can't even imagine. I did try oil painting once, and my son had come over. He was probably, I don't know, 5 or 6. And he did what you just described. He's like, "Oh, is that dry?"
Yep.
And when he went in, his finger slid.
Okay. Yes.
And I had the teacher here. It was Mary Owens. I had her here teaching in my studio, and she looked at him, and his eyes got big as saucers. And so when she wiped him up, and he went on his merry way. But she went in, she fixed it for me. So when I came back from lunch, I didn't even know he had done that. He told me that story later, but boy, was he surprised.
Oh gosh, yes, the things they do.
But and it's a good thing, because now our awareness of the toxicity of oils and stuff like that.
The teachers I took with always stressed that with the oils, and they always had us wear the guard on your hands. And so that's one of the things I would always tell my students: you have to wear the art shield on your hands to I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's like a hand lotion, and it's supposed to keep out, and so you put a coat on your hands,
like a liquid glove.
No, it's more like hand lotion. It's a cream.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's made by Winsor Newton Art Guard, it's
Oh, I
called.
didn't know that. Okay, there you go. Learn
Yeah.
something new every day. I bet you all out there knew about that, didn't you?
Yeah. And it's supposed to help keep the toxins out of your system.
Cool. So when did you start teaching?
Probably, I started painting in around 1981. So it was probably about 1984. It was a few years later, and I was going up to taking classes at the craft store, and the teacher quit. They, she up and quit because she had a disagreement with the owner. So the owner asked me if I would start teaching there. And I was like, okay, sure, we can do this. Um, it was kind of like sink or swim. What I didn't know, I sure learned fast from all the students. They'd ask me questions, and it's like, okay, next week I'll answer that. And then you'd go home and you'd look it up and, get all the answers, and you'd go back and, you know,
So it was like jumping in the deep end.
yes, without a life jacket,
Yeah.
sink or
Wow.
swim.
Wow. Because my next question was going to be what inspired you to teach? Well, clearly it.
Yeah, there you go. You're teaching.
But that it's great because the people needed it. They needed a teacher, somebody to, you know, continually to encourage and inspire them, and you filled that spot. So
Yeah, we kept on
I'm
going.
sure a lot of people thank you. You know.
I look back and I think, oh, I painted that really?
So is that when you became a designer as well? Did you start designing your own things right from the get-go, or when did
No,
that
I
happen?
taught other people's things in the beginning. I started teaching a 6 weeks beginner classes, and we started 2 weeks with stroke work, and then prep and all the basics. And then from there, we went on and did a simple projects at the end of 6 weeks. And then after that, I would have some other, pieces. I'd bring pieces in and we'd do those also. But I didn't start designing. Again, it was sink or swim. A girlfriend called me, says, I just signed up for a booth. It was at Ohio. She says, you want to do it with me? And I was like, sure, why not? There were three of us. And she says, okay, you have to come up with 10 patterns. We're each doing 10 patterns. And it was like, oh, okay. So that's how I got into designing.
Do you remember what your first pattern was?
Oh, I still have it. I didn't keep the piece, but I kept the pattern. It was an angel. So, yeah, and then it's been a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of fantastic painters on the trade shows. And so you had to kind of try and figure out your own, where you belonged in all that.
Mm, yeah. What would you say is your favorite subject matter that over the
Florals, realistic. Yeah. I prefer florals and, um, you know, that kind of thing.
You
I
have
like,
one there to show us, don't you?
yeah, this one is not even varnished. In fact, it's not put together. This is the frame I painted for it. And let's see, let me get it in the frame. There we go. Can you
Oh, beautiful.
see it? So that one needs to be varnished and put together, but that's my latest. That one it was going to be a summer piece.
Hmm.
And I did the background, and it's like, that is a poinsettia. And I couldn't come up with anything after that to go on it. So it's a poinsettia.
So, and what are you doing with that?
At the moment, nothing. Christmas is past.
Cool. But we have Christmas coming up in July.
Oh, do we? Okay. Then if you want it, it's yours. Yeah.
So, hey, if everyone wants it, let us know because we're going to make it a webinar.
Okay. That's
So,
good to know.
yeah.
Because it was like, oh, it's going to be a long time before I can use that.
No, a lot of people paint all
Oh,
Christmas all
you're
year
right.
round.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't get enough of it. Let's see. Pauline says from New Mexico, can't keep up with all these wonderful interviews since they happen right when I dinner. Sorry.
There's always replay.
Yeah, however, I love that I can play catch up, and thank you for lovely artists. Thank you all. Thank all you lovely artists and Cindy for bringing me. So you are so welcome. But yeah, that's the wonderful part about Facebook replays, right? Yay.
Yes, because I have a real hard time staying. Like she said, she's cooking dinner, she's doing this. Somebody walks in, and I have a real hard time staying for an hour sitting. But on the replay, I can watch 15 minutes, go do something, and come back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the next question is, what is your favorite medium? So we know that you tried, you started in oils and then you went to acrylics. Are there other ones that you've done? And
I'm working on colored pencils right now. At first, I hated them. I thought that was a big waste of my time. They're growing on me. So colored pencils, but acrylics are really my favorite. I still love oils, but I don't do them as much anymore. And I'm finding myself thinking maybe I should get rid of them, Because it's just, but every once in a while I'll pull them out and I'll do a piece and, but acrylics I've dabbled in a little bit of everything. I've done a little bit of pastels and I've done a little bit watercolors. Watercolors give me fits because they don't do exactly what you want them to do. When you want them to go right, they go left, So.
Yeah, I do know.
Yeah. So I've done several and it's like, they've come out good, but it's like, I wanted that highlight over there. So.
Yeah, it's getting to learn, getting to know your medium and how to manipulate it.
Yeah.
And such. Do you have a favorite surface? Because I know that you've worked on different surfaces as well. Is there one that you prefer, like, is your go-to surface these days?
No, I like different surfaces. So if I see something different, I'll grab it and I'll do it. But I found real fast, I like tin a lot. And when I started, I did a lot of tin. But tin's a funny thing because the manufacturers make so many pieces of it. And then, maybe they make a whole shipload. And once that shipload's gone, it's never produced again. So I found that to be a real big disadvantage doing conventions. You go to order it and they say, wow, we can only get you 20 pieces and you need 25. So right now I've been working between wood and between, well, I guess it's not even wood anymore. What is it? It's mason.
Yeah, I think it's masonite. Yeah.
Masonite, and canvases.
So you find like the masonite, a lot of people are finding the really smooth. They love that smooth.
Yeah, there's not a lot of prep to it. I'll show you this guy. He's done here. He's on what? Can you see? Am I in there?
He's cutie.
He's on the masonite board, and and I like to do things with my backgrounds too. I don't like just a painted background. I like a lot of details.
So is that paper? Is that paper?
Paper back here. It's paper and then stencils and then paint on top of the paper. All kinds of things going on back here. So, yeah. You try to find your niche and you try to be a little bit different and.
Yeah. And you have to keep reinventing yourself. Yeah, definitely. Do you have a favorite technique?
Dry brushing. I love to dry brush.
Talk about how you do that. What brush you use and.
Okay, I have a variety. I probably have every size and shape of dry brush out there. I use the Scharf's, the Bringold, and there's, I don't know, oops, I'm down too far. This is a crescent shape. This one is a round. I like a natural haired brush because I do mostly flowers. So like on this one here, if you're doing a flower, A natural haired brush is going to give you a real soft, feathery touch. Okay, you pick up a little tiny bit of paint and you wipe up all the excess and you just kind of work with what's left in there. If you have a stiff brush, that gives you texture. Like a lot of people say, well, I can just use my fabric brush, it'll work. Yeah, it will work, but not on a flower. It'll work beautifully on a tree or a rock or whatever. But on a flower, you want something that's really soft and gives you a nice soft texture.
And that's an oval or a filbert or something.
Yeah, I use mostly the round, but for flat surfaces, I'll go to my crescent. This one is a crescent.
Yes, I love those.
Yeah, so I go, and like I said, every time I see a new one, I buy another one because you just don't know when you'll need it. So.
Good to know. So, yeah, because I use the stiff brushes, and I know that some teachers were using the softer ones, so I started to try and manipulate with the softer ones, and it's a little bit different, obviously, right?
Yes.
But I'm getting the hang of it.
Yeah, what I found and why I went to dry brushing so much is in seminars you have people of all different levels, and a lot of them are beginners. And when you tell them to do a back-to-back float, they really have a hard time to it. A lot of them have never heard of it, or even if you have to do a circular float, and they ruin their whole piece. Whereas the dry brush, if you can get them to just pick up a little bit of paint and wipe it all off, they walk away with a nice result. So.
Norma is asking, what is the brand of dry brushes that you have?
I use Sharps, and this one is a 1400, and the Crescent is 1440. Now,
I'm typing it in there just so that people can see it.
Yeah, sharpartbrushes.com.
Cool.
I think is.
Yeah, I love Sharp as well and use their brushes, but SCHARFF.
FF.
There it's
artbrushes.com.
ES brushes.
I think so.
Or artbrush.com.
Oh, I don't know.
Anyways, go check that out, people.
Yeah.
Let us know if it's wrong. We can correct it.
If there's an S on the end or not.
Yeah, I would say brushes would have an ES, but
yes,
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Anyways, you'll figure it out. I can correct it after the show's over. So what is the best tip that you would give your students?
Practice every day. If you like I've painted almost every day since I've started, except for this last year. I stopped painting when we got locked down and came back to it. But when you don't paint a little bit every day, you lose a little bit of the flexibility in your hands. So a lot of teachers will have you, if you haven't painted, just take and sit there and take your brush and make circles, or do stroke work or that, to just loosen and nimble everything up. So you need to practice if you want to get better.
Cool. Yeah, I agree. I
did not even get better, just to maintain. If you want to maintain your skills, and it could be something, just watching TV. It could be something, just goofy stuff.
Right. Yeah. The Sandy Greco's here. Hi, Sandy.
Hi, Sandy.
And she says, you are so creative with your mixed medium designs. I took a class at Hoot many years ago of tulips on postcard scrapbook paper and loved the class. I think you were one of the beginners in the multimedia techniques. Love your designs.
Thank you. Yes. When I looked around at Hoot that first year and I saw everybody's stuff, and I thought, I'm not that good. I need to distinguish myself. So that's where I headed. But then they started eliminating some of those products, and which they do. They can't make everything forever.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sharon's asking, do you put anything over paper before you paint on it?
Yes. What I do, well, you have to apply, attach it, apply it, fix it. This one here, you could use multi-purpose sealer to lay the paper down in and hold it. You can also, decoupage is my medium that I usually use. But when it's done, I usually come back with a coat of sealer, not sealer, I'm sorry, glazing medium, and go over this whole top of the board. Because when you use decoupage or when you use matte medium or that, it always gives you a little bit of a sheen around your paper. You need to even your surface out a little bit.
So,
And
so
just
put it over the whole thing.
the whole thing. And you can even, you don't want to get it too slick because decoupage is too slick, you know. So you can always just thin down your glazing medium with some water. If you use DecoArt's glazing medium, you can thin it down with up to 50% water. And you can just put it, and it's just to even out the sheen, because the sheen will always have one more, even when you varnish, it will always have one more coat of shine under it than this area. So you just want to even it out.
Good question on the gold piece. What makes that gold so shimmering on the top of your ornament?
Oh, that's glitter.
What kind of glitter is that?
It's DecoArt's. Oh, my mind went blank.
It's not the glamour dust, because
Yes,
that
it is.
is it the glamour?
Gold glamour dust. Yes. What I did is I varnished the piece, you know, put as many coats of varnish as I wanted on it. Then I put a coat of varnish on it again. And while it was still wet, I sprinkled on my glamour dust.
So it's a dry stuff.
Yeah, it's the dried glamour dust.
Because boy, the glimmer you're getting off the camera and the lighting,
I can see it a little bit, yes.
that's amazing. I've never seen that much glitter on camera.
Yeah, the brush on glitter, you could even put a brush on gold glitter on it, and while it's still wet, add some more glamour dust on top of it. You know, as long as it's put on while it's wet, it'll stick. And you know how glitter is, it comes off. This does not.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few sprinkles on my hand, but not many.
Not the whole bottle.
Yeah, not the whole box like you can.
See, Dorothy wrote, using the control medium, is it easier to transfer the design using transfer paper than when using decoupage?
Control medium is a medium that was for metal paints.
Oh.
So when you're using the glazing medium to even out my sheen, thin it down with water, and yes, it will be. It'll give you a little bit of grip to it.
Cool. Here's a nice wild question.
Okay.
Is there a medium, a subject matter, or a technique that you've not tried yet that you would like to try one day?
Would have been pastels, but I've just been trying them lately. I think, yeah, I just recently, I am pretty much self-taught, or not self-taught. I've been taught by the decorative painters, by conventions and teachers and things. No college education. So I just before the pandemic hit, I had signed up at college and I was taking some drawing and some pencil classes. And I really liked that. So our last class was the night they announced the lockdown here. So I got my last class in, and now I'll have to wait until we go back in person. I don't think art is something you can do. I mean, you can, but not when they're trying to teach you how to chalk and things, you know, from a still life. I think you need to be there in person to see all the different reflections and that. So,
well, it's definitely, it has to be rethought. You
Yes.
know, I mean, anything, I think anything can be taught on through the internet, but the approach has
Yeah.
definitely you've got to do it a different way.
Yeah.
It's
It's
not
something.
the way you've been doing it all the time. You've got to rethink
Yeah.
how you're going to approach that. But
Because our teacher was saying that she had to finish up some of her other classes online and she didn't know how she was going to do it because when they set the still lights up, you have to go around at every angle, you know, looking at your shadows and your highlights and things. And it was like, she said, I can't teach this online. So,
so are you finding that the class you took is even though it's just the first one, do you feel it's a beneficial to you and going to help you in your designing?
oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think everything you do makes your art a little bit stronger, a little bit better. You know, I look back at my other piece, my beginning pieces, and I think, oh my God, that line was crooked, or that circle wasn't round, it was more oval, you know. So yeah, I think, you know, I think everything you do, and I'm a firm believer that, and I tell people this all the time, that take from as many teachers as you can. Um, you know, maybe she's not going to teach you something that you don't know, but you'd be surprised how many tips or shortcuts you might get from her or him. You know, there's always something to learn from everybody. So,
I totally agree with you
yeah,
on that. I totally agree with you. I tell people that take from everybody.
everybody you can. When I first started, when I went to convention, I painted from 8 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. And if I was there 7 days, I took classes the whole 7 days. You know, it's just, and I always took pretty much everything, things I didn't do, um, things I might not want to ever do again, but I took them to see what I could learn from them. So,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah, they're
there were
worth it.
things, yeah, things I didn't like, but it's like, hey, I learned, you know.
You could say you've been there, done that, got the
Yep.
teacher.
Done that.
So this brings us to, before we get there, I just want to say thank you to everyone who is joining us tonight. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comment section. I will address them or ask them for you. And so the question of the hour is, what is the project that you are teaching for webinars?
Okay, artful webinars. This is the piece here, the wild daisies. Can you see?
Yeah.
Yep.
And I had here what you were teaching it on January 24th.
24th.
Yeah. From 9 a.m. to 3:30 Eastern.
Yeah. I wasn't sure of the times, but it was an all dayer. Um,
Tell us what they'll learn if they sign up for that class.
okay. The background you're doing is homework. You'll learn how to paint a realistic daisy. Um, my dry brush technique, how I dry brush. Um, the use of tints to carry your eye around the projects. Um, you know, just a little bit of realism and whimsy and how to keep it soft looking, you know.
I love that part the best is how soft it is, and I love the color palette. It's definitely my color palette. So
Yeah, you know, I have yet to figure out my color palette because I love color. Um, and it's like, okay, you want to do purples? Let's do purples. You know, it's just like I love color, and I always have. You know, even in my clothes. Well, today I've got on black, but somebody will say, "Oh, at one time I had a bright orange sweater," and somebody said, "You're wearing orange?" And it's like, "Yeah, I love orange. Why not?" So,
that's beautiful.
thank you.
I'm checking to see just how many seats are left in your beautiful class. Um, That's always a challenge. So are you teaching back in your, I mean, do you teach out of your house when you're home? Do
I
you?
do teach a few years ago. Yeah, I was teaching more out of my house. Um, and a few years ago, my husband got sick and died. So I cut back on the home classes. And right now, I am only letting, well, there's two girls. I had three girls that I was letting coming that are friends. One just had her knee replaced, so she's not coming right now. But so that's all I'm doing right now. When the pandemic hit, it was just the beginning of the season. I was leaving for a convention that week when we got locked down, a little mini retreat. I had another one scheduled 2 weeks later. I have a basement full of supplies right now for classes that were scheduled. Um, but I do the conventions. I do travel teach. I have, um, I've taught at the YMCA, not the Y, the library. I don't know where YMCA came from, but
It's all the same, right?
yeah,
YMCA library. It's all the same.
it's the same. I've taught for our chapters and, locally.
So I'm checking on so Sandy said she tried to order it from CD Wood. I'm assuming it's the piece, the wood piece.
Right. This piece is from
And
CD
they
Wood.
said it was out of stock. So
Tell her, well, check back with them, because what I noticed, they just had a big sale and I think it ended now. And anything that had this laser cut on the edges was all marked out of stock, because I was going to order a bunch of them. So I don't think they wanted that in their sale. So if the sale is over, it might come right back into stock.
okay, cool. And then yeah, Paula, the surface that you asking, she says, is that metal? I'm assuming
No,
it's the
it's
wood
wood.
one.
It's the
Yeah.
wood one.
Yeah.
MDF.
And what wood do you, Dolores, where are you? What wood do you recommend? What kind of wood would you recommend?
You know what? Right now, everybody's using the MDF board. It doesn't warp. It's easy to handle, and you can hang it on your wall. Like you could hang it right here. I could hang this with a safety pin, or not a safety pin, a straight pin. Yeah, safety pins all over my walls. But it's real lightweight. Whereas I have pieces that are left the old wood surfaces, and they are so heavy when you go to hang them. So this is, it's much easier. You can get the laser cuts on it, and it's so much nicer.
Mm,
So,
yeah, I like them very much myself.
yes.
Norma is asking, not sure how to sign up on the webinar. So you go to artfulwebinars.com. I'll put it in the thing, artfulwebinars.com, and you scroll down till you see her Untamed Daisies. Click on that and follow the prompts, and you can sign up for her class. And there's a lot of seats left. So anyone who's in there, it's almost going to be almost like a semi-private class.
Ooh, okay.
So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Judy's classes are always a lot of fun.
Well, I don't know. I don't tell jokes because I always forget the punchline. But
well, that's why you tell the punchline and then we all laugh.
Yeah. This one here was painted at, it's MDF board, but this was a canvas. They consider it a panel from, this one was from Hobby Lobby, and it was already primed. So, I mean, you just buy it and you start painting. You don't even have to do anything to it.
You know what I liked is the one that I had done with you is it's you did the flower on this, or butterfly, sorry. You did the butterfly like on a 5x7 masonite
Yes.
piece, but you then had us attach it to a canvas. So I'm thinking that these people who can't find that filigree, the laser cut
You
piece,
can attach it to anything.
they could do it on a plain masonite piece and then attach it to the filigree when they come back in stock, right?
When they come back in stock. I don't have a ruler, but I mean, you would just, well, if you have the once you get your pattern, all you need is this much space.
The inside, yeah.
Yeah. And you could attach it. And I just attached it with, what did I attach it with? Liquid, one of the textures. It was the liquid glass, the textured glass.
Mm.
I don't think they make that one anymore.
So Sandy's like, if we can't get the surface, would you recommend canvas?
Canvas would work, yes.
Yeah.
It'll work just fine. And then frame it up.
So let the people know where they can find your patterns. I know I put it in here already, but let
Okay.
them know where they can find your patterns.
The decorative painting store.com. I have patterns there. I've got a couple at Patty Rollinson, but they're just ones that are on, I think there's 2 there that were done on her pieces of wood. So there's a couple there, but the decorative painting store. You can always contact me. If you saw something and you don't know where to get it, just contact me by email and I can get it off to you.
And your email address is?
Judy@ribitch.com.
And you also have a Facebook page?
Yeah, Judy Ribitch, artist.
So they can, do you post your artwork on that as well?
Yeah, I've posted some. I need to get back on there and post some fresh things. I'm not real good like you are at social media.
Oh, it's running away from me.
It's a full-time job.
Something else. I'm feeling like I'm being pulled along, but
Yeah, I don't see how you keep up with it all.
well, that's what calendars are for.
Yeah.
So thank you all for joining us tonight and getting to know Judy, a beautiful artist. I love her stuff. I've loved it for, I won't say how long. And
Okay.
and so yes, you can join her class. It's not too late. And
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing you all there.
it's going to be a fun class and we're going to learn a lot. And because Judy's got a lot of tips and tricks always to share with her students. So please go check that out. And also too, don't forget that we have 2 more Meet the Artists coming up. We have Roz Stalcup and we have Shara Reiner. So they'll be coming up in the weeks to come. And we also still have 3 what we call watch, learn, and paint, paper, pencil, chalk, whatever, with us. And I'll be doing this Monday, the 11th. It's iris folding. It's done with paper. So you can use all those scraps. Yeah, scrapbook scraps, or you can even design your own paper and use those.
Oh, and your jelly plate.
Yep, jelly plate, definitely. So all those fun things. So I'll be doing that non-painting activity, but then we have a couple other painting activities the rest of this. We do actually, Christy Hartman's doing a jelly print technique. She's showing us, I think, on the 29th. So there's something there for everyone. Thank you all for watching the live. Thank you all for watching the replay, and come back again soon. Happy New Year once again. Thank you, Judy, so much.
Well, thank you for having me.
And
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And we look forward to seeing you all in class. Take care now. Oh, what am I saying? Remember to always paint with heart.
Yeah, okay.
Bye-bye.